Hi, I'm Noah and I'm roasting every US president in order again. Today is part 2 of my roast of 7th US president and a man whose face looked like a lumpy carrot that you'd feel bad about throwing out, Andrew Jackson. In 1807, Jackson saw a man he said owed him money in the street and in the resulting scuffle stabbed him with a sword he had hidden in his cane and was charged with assault, although he was acquitted. The historical record is unclear on why he was acquitted, but I'd imagine that the jury was about to convict and then they saw that Jackson had brought his cane to court. During the early phase of the War of 1812, Jackson was wounded when he was shot in the shoulder, not in a battle against the British, but in a bar fight against his fellow Americans. Ultimately, though, I think the bar fight did help the American war effort. With Jackson's arm in a sling, is a lot less likely to attack any more of his fellow soldiers. Jackson led American troops against the Red Sticks faction of Creek Native Americans, where his scorched earth tactics of destroying villages and supplies starved women and children, forcing the Red Sticks leaders to surrender. Starving non-combatants to get their leaders to surrender is inhumane and it's risky. What was Jackson going to do if it turned out that the Red Sticks leaders cared as little about women and children as he did? After the Red Sticks surrendered, Jackson forced the Creek people to sign a treaty giving the U.S. 23 million acres of land, including land belonging to the Creek who had fought with Jackson against the Red Sticks. It's a disgusting betrayal, but if the American allied Creek really wanted to keep their land, they should have acted like real American soldiers and shot Andrew Jackson. At the end of the War of 1812, Jackson repelled a British attack on New Orleans and left martial law in place after the threat was over, then imprisoned a journalist for writing an article criticizing martial law, and after a judge ordered him to release the journalist, imprisoned the judge too. As a lawyer, Jackson had a great deal of respect for the rule of law. The rule was, Jackson made the law. In 1818, Jackson crossed into then Spanish Florida with the stated goal of attacking Seminole Native Americans, but also captured the Spanish towns of Pensacola and St. Mark's, which the US then had to give back after a diplomatic incident with Spain. Honestly, I never would have expected Jackson to ignore everyone else's opinion and illegally seize land from white people. Alright, please consider donating to help the family that I sponsor in Gaza. If you'd like to support me or watch bonus videos, please check out my Then let me know who else to roast, and join me next time for part 3 of my roast of 7th US President and a man who looks like if Ichabod Crane was so ugly that taking his head was a favor, Andrew Jackson.